Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. Hey, Rob, you can sit. All right. Good evening, everybody. Right. A word of prayer and meditation, and then we get right into business. I'm Dr. Harris, and I'm the parent chair of this here commission. I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. And so if we can just all assume a posture of prayer, that will be perfect. Heavenly Creator, thank you for allowing us to gather here today. Thank you for all of those that you have allowed productive and allow us all to have a good spirit for this. Amen. That's all I can tell you today. But allow us to get started. We'll start with a roll call. And so if you hear your name, please say present. All right, Vincent.
Yeah, present.
Francis. Wells, he will not be here. Wilbur.
I'm here.
There we go. And Jackie. Yokoski. Awesome.
KAG.
From the executive that need to be formally made to these documents. If so, I'd like to make a motion to formally adopt these minutes via unanimous consent. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, the minutes have been accepted via unanimous consent. We have no keynote speakers tonight. Commissioner.
Yes, I have a few announcements for OTINA. Good time, feel free to stop by. And then an announcement that the Trash to Treasures date is going to move. It will be on June 21st so that it does not conflict with Pride and I believe the Art Walk, so. They also will be holding elections in April for May start if you're interested in learning more about the positions that OTINA has.
Looks like it's being put on by the Kirwan Institute.
You have a time?
Yes, 6 to 7:30.
PM?
Yes, EST.
Any other announcements from commissioners?
I have one.
Yes.
The Bronzeville Neighborhood Association is hosting a Bronzeville conference, which will include Chicago, Milwaukee, and LA. The date is yet to be set. And Bronzeville Neighborhood Association has put in a grant of $50,000.
I'll make sure this announcement actually.
By the Department of Neighborhoods. I do have just a quick two quick announcements. In honor of Women's History Month, neighborhoods distributed free, and then the movie begins at 1 o'clock, and I can send that out electronically as well. As well, I think Dr. Harris and Commissioner Lowenstein regarding Ms. Beth here, she's our new IPO with the Department of Neighborhoods, so probably about.
It'll be that's 2 months today. Heck, yeah. Public Relations Specialist for Department of Neighborhoods. Beth Booker, nice to meet you all.
Welcome and thank you for joining us. uh, uh, any general questions, or probably just one question from the commission, to be quite honest. But then on April 3rd, they've been invited back again, discussion. Have a
Whenever you want. All right. Good evening. Thank you very much again. Really hard to try to have solid representation downtown and trying to make sure that we have authentic engagement with the community. This is something that we worked all together very hard for, and to earn the trust with our community members. It is something that we've worked really hard with the development that's been going on here on the Near East Side. We worked hard as a commission to be able to be more interconnected with other commissions. Bring more to help other people. So I think it's about building relationships, right? And so I think that part of that is by having strength. I think you're getting to the point where there's hardly any have my committee, did not want to have me be part of the party. And so that is part of that, what that's gonna look like, is that I represent us. And so that is what's gonna look different, is it's just, it starts with one, and we can move from there.
Well, thank you so much.
Okay? Thank you.
My name is Tiara. And that is really where I learned the value of service and the benefit of benevolence to a community. Seafood access, to see access to healthcare, living in significant poverty, living in housing conditions that are I am committed to policies that celebrate this city's diversity.
Okay.
Did somebody else have a
Just you.
Okay, I'll go. Okay, I thought so. So complaints that we raise from time to time, and I don't really see a whole lot of action being taken on that. So like, how does, given that city council and the mayor's office of relationship building, of opinions are celebrated, where differences of thought
really you talked about the importance of connection. You just how Columbus and to an area commission. It may be sitting in the backyard of a resident. Right, our mission as the resource body is to come out more, but not just come out to the same. To different
Chairman Cotton.
It's about to be.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Ross. All right, we'll now have, Mr. Vogel.
in service with others. Eviction court had sort of reopened quickly, and our neighbors kept getting evicted as rents kept rising. And I worked to mobilize hundreds of volunteers across the city of Columbus to create a grassroots project where we connected with neighbors at risk of eviction and gave them some information about their rights as tenants. This was a volunteer effort. We mobilized people and we got something done. And that's an example of how I like to work. And stay in legal status. And, you know, in that work, we have
Mr. Vogel. Any questions from, members of the commission?
For us, what are your thoughts on what Columbus could do better to try to address the housing crisis, and what a group like us here could be doing to help that, or what you would do also, at City Hall?
Thanks for that question. I think that we're losing communities in Columbus who are getting displaced because is, in the past few years, our city voters, put into an effort, kind of revolving fund, where that money is invested and its interest is reinvested right here in the community, and where we're spending that money to build housing that's kept permanently affordable, rather than housing that has affordability requirements that because those reducing the tax base, so families' taxes are going up because of that to meet that need. Why are they not investing some of that money, some of their corporate dollars in tax relief for families like the ones who are our neighbors on the east side of the line? So those are things I like to pursue on that.
So I asked question 4.
And then they left holding the bag. On council, I view every issue through that lens. How does this actually work for people? In addition, I think council has an important oversight responsibility to ask questions about what's going on in the executive branch and whether it's working to meet people's needs. And I'm, building a strong base of a campaign. Doesn't
update your land use policy. And that's something that we had a good, strong land use policy along those corridors, which is one of the reasons why we approached those first. As we move away from the corridors, that land use policy gets a lot weaker. Mainly because we have a lot of area plans out there. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but quite a few. They're not consistent across the city. We also have citywide planning policies, or C2P2. That is our citywide policy that we have. And so we're going to take an approach of looking at those same areas, manufacturing, office, other commercial areas, and updating the land use policy in those areas first. And then we'll work throughout this entire year with lots of engagement that will come forth here starting around the summertime. Then at the end of the year, we'll bring that to council. They will take a look at it. There'll be a 30-day comment period, just 30 days for the policy. That's important to understand. With the zoning is 60, with that is 30. And then after that 30 days, that decision will be made. And then if everything goes through, we will look at zoning then. And that zoning work will take place at the end of this year and moving on into next year. And then the next phase will start pretty soon after that. The policy work will probably get started pretty much right away, because it appears that we're going to be on a bit tighter of a timeline than we originally planned. So, not a ton of information for you tonight, but we haven't been in front of you since we've been talking about the zoning code update before. So we just want to make sure that we're coming back, showing face, giving an update about what's going on, and answering any questions you might have. And again, thank you for making time on the agenda.
Most definitely. Yes, Commissioner Logan.
So for the areas within the NEAC Area Commission that have already been moved into the zoning regulation, do we have any sort of data on what projects are being approved, like what is going on in those areas? I know they're not coming in front of us anymore for our review and approval, so is there any mechanism in place for us to get some sort of report of what is going on in our district?
Thank you for that. That's a excellent question. I'm going to try to pull up some numbers. I don't have it for the Near East though. I do have some city-wide numbers that I could provide for you. But more importantly, how you can find out about that. If they're not going, if they don't need a variance, or rezoning, or BZA, as it may be, then yes, they're not going to come in front of you. And so in order to find out what is going on, you're going to have to, the easiest way would be to go to our development tracker. So if you look up City of Columbus Building Zoning Services Development Tracker, you'll pull that up. It's another weird URL. Pull that up. You got it right there. Thank you so much for the technology. This makes my life so much easier. So you look at this, it's really not self-explanatory. So I'm going to work in with BZS. I've talked to them about, we need a instructional sheet of what's what and how to use this. If you go over here to our layers, yep, you got it. Go to the legend, right? And then you're going to see where you have site compliance plan final, site compliance plan preliminary. Those are the two main things you want to look at, because whether or not they need a rezoning, they have to submit those site compliance plans in order to get their permits. And all those site compliance plans are reviewed by every department throughout the city. So if it's preliminary, obviously that has not been processed all the way through. They're still going through the process. Final is they've gotten through the process, they're able to start pulling their permits. You also have lot splits and some other things on there too. However, I think the most important part about this screen here is if you click over here to log in, you'll be prompted, you'll have to do a sign up. So you'll have to go down here, create a CBUS account. You don't have to go through and do it right now, but I do encourage you to do that because then you won't have to mess with the map. You can if you want to, but you don't have to proactively go after it. If you sign up for that, you're able to say you're in a certain area. It will send push notifications to you when there is a site compliance plan submitted to BZS, to Building Zoning Services. And so you'll be notified in that way that a development is happening.
Is there any way that an area commission could be automatically signed up so that our area commission gets notified of any properties that ongoing development that's happening within our neighborhood?
I'll look into that, yeah. I was hoping that's the way it was going to be, but I don't think apparently that is. I would encourage you to sign up, but I'll see if they can maybe get, sign up all at least the zoning chairs and the chair of the, committee too.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I'll see if I can get some numbers here.
Awesome. Yes, Commissioner Frost.
You hate to look this way, don't you?
No, I listen. I got. Sorry.
And I know this question's maybe been asked before, but I'm guessing that some of this work will be supported by Public Works. Will you do any kind of outreach for local vendors to get this work, or will they have to just check with the portal to see when RFPs come out? How will that happen?
Yeah, local vendors will have to sign up through the cities, sign up and be in the city system. And I believe then they can get notifications and they can apply for things through that.
Will there be any outreach to let them know that this is happening?
As
And
far
I know
as,
that any of this is happening, like if you're not, and I know that all of our contractors probably are aware of Zone In, but if you're not in it, you're not in it, right? So, they won't know to look.
right. I'm not familiar with exactly, I don't handle that part of,
Okay.
it would be finance, so I'm not entirely sure. I know if you do sign up and you are in the city system, that's gonna be the best way for you to be in touch with what's going on and what's happening. And I think a lot of that, I'm not sure, but I think a lot of that is proactive. They're gonna have to be in there checking. And also we have different programs depending on, the background of the said vendor that may be signing up, especially women and minorities. We have a program, I don't know if I can say diversity, equity, and inclusion, but I'm gonna go ahead and say that right now. But we do still have that here at the city, and even if we have to change the name of that for some reason, not that I'm saying that's gonna happen, I'm just saying, you never know, the world's changing rapidly, right? I'm sure that we'll have some sort of program that gives a certain amount of preference to people that have been historically disadvantaged in that way. You're welcome. Some numbers, if I may. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So on all the corridors, to date, we've had 17 eating and drinking establishments, 10 childcare and education facilities, 14 auto-oriented uses. So those would be tires, gas, vehicle storage, parking lots, oil change, things of that nature, circled around the vehicle. Residential projects, we've had just 5, 463 units in total. Includes, the majority of those, I should say, comes from, the Taylor House. And then also, there's a decent amount on Cleveland Avenue with some townhomes as well. In addition to, and there's also some preliminary site plans going on too. There's 33 of those processing when I got this text, which I think was last week. So we have another 8 projects with 513 units in the pipeline essentially for that. Also 7 lot splits in addition to that as well. So that's way up our numbers today. But again, I don't have that specific to the Near East as well. But I do encourage you to use the application. If you have any issues, you can reach out directly to me and I can make sure that you get signed up.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions from commissioners? Robinson, we'll start looking right. Awesome, thank you so much, Alex. And yeah, please definitely keep us in the loop when it comes to the policy and so forth that will soon be adopted, and allow us to know how we might be able to support.
Yeah, if I may too, we also have some trainings as well coming up. Our planning division does a zoning and variance training where we do a hands-on training, bring you downtown in a computer room. We actually use actual cases. We run through those cases and we give you our perspective and what we look at and all the tools. We have maps, other things like that. Some people find this very, very, very informative, that they don't have the experience even maybe using a computer to review these things. We want to make sure that you all commissioners, and it's open to the public as well, have the same tools that we do when you're reviewing as well, so that you can be as informed as we will, are. The next training would be April 23rd, which is a Wednesday from 6 to 8:30. We'll also have another one in July on the 19th on a Saturday from 10 to 1, and then on a Wednesday in December as well on the 10th. So again, if you are interested in that, you can contact myself or your liaison as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Yep, and we also have one more announcement from PACT. The last day for their gallery is tomorrow. That ends tomorrow at, I think, 4:30 p.m. at the African American Extension Center on Mount Vernon Avenue. If you have not had a chance to look at those proposed projects, for the Pilgrim site and the Lemon Pharmacy. Definitely please utilize that opportunity to go. It's well put together, and it closes tomorrow. Okay, allow us to move on in our agenda. Thanks so much. That's not gonna work. Appreciate you. To the women of the commission, I want to give you all flowers in honor of Women's History Month. If you received a double flowers, because you serve as a vice chair. So I just want to say thank you all for serving, and happy Women's History Month. You are valued and appreciated on this commission. All right, Commissioner Rice,
Yes.
with planning.
A week from tonight, there was a planning zoning meeting, and we have pretty full agenda. We'll be reviewing 1106 Cole Street, 172 North 21st Street, 598 Rhodes Avenue, and 576 Fairwood Avenue. We have a conceptual review for 700 East Long Street, which is a Delphi project. And then we have two demo applications, one for 1589 Granville Street and one for 1415 Oak Street.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Rice. We'll now move to, or any questions for Commissioner Rice?
Sure, if I could.
Yeah.
We happen to have a few south of Maine folks here, actually, someone running for city council, so I thought it was apropos to mention that we had a slew of COSIC affordable housing projects that may be coming in the future after this future agenda. So, you know, while you're here today to speak, if you would please come back to see some of those projects, I think it would be appreciated for folks in the neighborhood to kind of just know what's going on with those as well.
All right, does that conclude your report, Commissioner Rice?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now we'll move on to zoning of Commissioner Lowenstein. Let's have the people come right in the order that's presented in the agenda.
Okay, we have 3 cases tonight. These were considered at the site visit meeting last Saturday. The first one up is 1558 East Long Street. If the applicant could come up to the table. So keep in mind that you'll get 3 minutes, but and feel free to distribute any materials you have. Keep in mind that some of the people on the commission were not part of the zoning or planning committee, and this is the first time they're hearing about this. So give us a, when you're done distributing the materials, please give us a,
All right,
start off with just give us a summary. What are you trying to accomplish, and what variances are needed in order to accomplish that?
absolutely. So, good evening. My name is Jared Hurd. My wife is back with the daughters. So we live at 1558 East Long Street, and essentially, we live in a home right now. We do not have enough parking to accommodate both of our vehicles. There's an attached garage that sits within a carriage house on a lot. It cannot accommodate both vehicles. It's also a very tight turn getting into and out of the alley, which presents some personal issues from a safety standpoint with respect to our children. My vehicle is actually stolen because I had to park on the street. So now I park it in the garage, except the other vehicle is electric. So we do a lot of swapping, which actually impairs traffic flow. With respect to the variances, because there are several, the core is technically we do not have 2 sites for off-street parking for our lot. And if I'm correct, it actually says that if you get 2 spaces for off-street parking per dwelling. We're not even asking for what would actually be built to expand the garage so that it can accommodate 2 vehicles. The expansion project would essentially be bringing the garage out towards Parkwood, and then we've got permission from the Division of Traffic and Management to enter into the garage from the street, which is the exact same setup as the house immediately across the street from us, which would allow us then to safely park both vehicles. The project itself is only to expand the garage, which sits on the first floor of the carriage house. There's to be no other renovation or changes to the actual carriage house of the unit. It's basically just saying, it's like if I had a house garage was inside my house, I just want to make my garage bigger to fit one more vehicle. So we're only asking to increase the number of off-site parking spaces by 1 to make the garage able to accommodate our house and also bring us up to code with the city.
Thank you. I would mention that at the site visit meeting, the zoning committee voted in favor unanimously of this project. Anyone on the commission have any questions or comments for the applicant? Commissioner?
I just have a couple of comments, because I think it's important to the whole picture. So there was a couple of questions at the site visit about how the applicant planned on kind of, because there's 2 garage doors facing the alley right now, and how they were going to handle what that would look like moving forward when you changed the garage door to be facing the street as opposed to the alley. The applicant, it is a painted brick home. They plan to re-brick what they will be covering up, and it will match the home is the plan. I also want to just kind of put in for the record that when we came here to planning and zoning, some neighbors had some concerns about some rebar that had been exposed, and you guys took those concerns to heart and you made it safer for the people as they were walking into the neighborhood and around the site that you have right now, and I just wanted to say thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Is there, Commissioner Chris, anyone else on the commission have any comments, questions? Anyone in the community wish to speak to this case?
I just had a question about the actual zoning itself. Online, it's showing that it's to allow 2 single-unit dwellings on the property, and so I was just curious as to like what that.
Well, there's a main house and a carriage house.
Right, but is an ADU considered a single-family dwelling?
Yes.
Got it.
That guy would tell you over there.
You know better than I.
And we did have our structural engineer fix those plans so that it says they're 2 single-unit dwellings. The carriage house is not an additional 2-unit dwelling.
Is that adequate answer?
Yeah,
to you? Anyone else in the house here? Yes.
We're not within the postcard radius, but we live up the street, and I've spoken to some other neighbors, and we're all in favor of this.
Thank you for that comment. I think we know who made that comment. And anyone else wish to speak to this? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Second, Benson.
Did you? Okay.
Wilbur, and Benson.
All right. You didn't make the cut on that, so, okay.
So Wilbur moves, Benson seconds.
Yep.
All those in favor, raise your hands, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Opposed? Abstentions? 1. 12-0-1. You have our support. Chair, are you filling out the recommendation form?
Yes.
So, given that you're not a regular here, I'll go through the little speech. This needs to be emailed to the planner who's handling your case, but also email the commission so that we know that the recommendation has in fact gone into the city.
Okay, is the planner Joe Rose?
If that's who it was, I don't recall who your planner is, but if that's who it is, email him and us as well.
Okay.
Thank you for coming and for being a good neighbor.
Thank you, I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
All right. You can have these back if you want them.
24 hours.
We'll call tomorrow night so I can do it.
Do you want these packets back, sir?
You guys can keep it. I have plenty of copies.
All right. The next, while we're finishing up here, the next case up is 543 Taylor Avenue. And this is the Ohio State University's medical clinic parking lot project. So again, keep in mind, not everyone has heard about this before, so give us a quick summary of what you're hoping to accomplish and what zoning changes needed to achieve that.
Yeah, so my name is Eric Walsh with Corda Engineering, representing Ohio State University as the lead designer in the project. So the general scope, this is out at Outpatient East, is to reconstruct and rebuild the existing parking lot. So the university has had issues with just general circulation. It's a very tight lot, proximity to the building, spaces that aren't ADA compliant. So
we went through a study phase and a conceptual phase before coming to a solution that basically just improves the patient experience of the parking lot. That's the overall goal. So in doing that, we are providing more pedestrian accessibility with the drop-off and pickup lane at the main entry. We're also pushing the parking away from the building and give a little bit more sidewalk space for just queuing, general queuing. We've put all the ADA spaces nearest the entry to the building, and we're making sure all those spaces are ADA accessible. We're adding circulation lanes just to help with that movement within the facility. And then we're adding a number of islands. So based on the existing code text, the university is not required to meet the tree coverage, lot coverage requirement from the city of Columbus, but we will be doing it as part of this project again, trying to create a better experience. The specific variance we are looking for is to extend, so the current zoning requires a 10-foot setback on the parking. We're looking to push that to a 0 setback because we want to expand the parking lot about 8 feet to the north. That allows us to provide wider access aisles. So they're narrow now, we're going to 24-foot access aisles, so everything just kind of pushes up to the north. In addition to that, we had a traffic study done, and City of Columbus is requiring some modifications. So that first entry south from Leonard on Taylor is going to be converted to a right in, right out. And then they're being required to widen that portion of Taylor Avenue, provide a left turn lane into Maryland, and then also a left turn lane into our South Drive, which is also getting shifted south to align with Maryland too. That's.
If anyone wants to see this, I mean, I don't think a lot of people have wanted these, but what he said is in fact the case.
It's online.
We considered this at our site visit meeting on Saturday, and the zoning committee voted in favor of it. No one was opposed. We noted that the pushing the lot 8 feet to the north, those of you who drive in the neighborhood all the time, there's a mound between Leonard and the parking lot with trees. Pushing it 8 feet will kind of push into that mound some, but apparently trees don't have to come down for it, and it will still, the mound will still provide a buffer, a little bit less of one. And to the south, it's pushing into the vacant land a bit, but the intersection with Maryland we perceive that to be a significant improvement in terms of drivability in and out, and adding that turn lane will also be helpful. So the other thing I would mention is at the planning zoning meeting, but also at the site visit meeting, there was, there's some concern about the parking lot that's going to be built on the other side of the building, which is where all these cars, anyone who drives past this lot during the week sees how many cars there are. It's very full parked lot. I know, there's that captures it pretty well right there. I love technology, picture substitute. But if you go to the west of the building, they're going to build a new parking lot over there, and that's where all those cars are going to go. That is contaminated land, and so there are concerns about, tearing up that surface, and we got plenty of response back that they're basically the best way to contain contamination is to pave over it, and I agree that I see that all the time too in development. So but there's still concerns that could theoretically release toxins into the air, water, etc. And so we've had that conversation, and they assure us they're going to comply with all legal requirements associated with it and so forth. But that was the nature of the conversation. I just wanted to pass that on to everyone. Anyone on the commission wish to ask any questions to the applicant or make any comments?
I do. This was presented to the Bronzeville Neighborhood Group last Saturday, and the reaction was very positive. So they did meet with the Neighborhood Association as we asked. But the other thing is, in your application, I find 4 variances that are listed. And while I don't understand what a tax parcel line is, I don't see anything in the requested variances in the application that have anything to do with expanding the parking lot to the edge of the lot. So could you kind of clarify that?
Yeah, so it's a little bit confusing because the CBD text covers that west lot and the east lot together. But the only item that we basically included in what we submitted to the city was just crossing out this section and rewriting that language to reduce the setback requirement. So any other variances, there's no other variances we're looking for. So I'm not quite sure if it's listing ones that are already associated with because it's the CPD, I don't know if they're.
Well, there is a landscaping variance, there is a maneuvering variance, and a parking space variance.
I believe those are all existing variances associated with.
Oh, is that what?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, because like I said, the lot coverage was part of that original variance, so I think that's all part of the original, and we're just modifying one of the items on there.
Thanks, appreciate that.
Anyone else on the commission have a question? Yes.
You were first, you raised your hand earlier.
I guess for me, I just have a comment about the greenery. And right here, like, I'm thinking that, cause I'm just thinking when I take my mom to the community day, she's always complaining about how hot it is out there and they need shade out here. Where are the trees? And they have the big tents, but of course, when it's already hot, the tent doesn't do much. I'm speaking on behalf of my mother. We need trees in the middle of I'm thinking in the middle of the lot. You know, the little thing?
Yeah, there's islands.
Yes.
Yeah, that is part of the design. So we are incorporating islands with trees.
Because I'm gonna go tell my mom they're putting trees and she can spend more time at the community.
Absolutely. And then, at that entryway where that kind of turnaround is, we're modifying, we're actually getting rid of that drop off, and that's gonna be all sidewalk space, so that's more covered area for people to.
I just wanted to make sure it's recorded, that's gonna be true.
You got it.
Anyone else have a question?
Yeah, comment and question. At the site plan visit, I know that you all are directly associated with the parking lot that is going east of the lot. But I asked about electric vehicle charging in the planning committee and thinking about the future. The lot that they're building there essentially is they're going to disturb this land to pave it over for safety. What I would like to see is them not have to, like you have to, redo your parking lot and potentially dig that back up again. So future-proofing it so that for the safety concerns of those in the neighborhood, whether or not folks are following guidelines to keep the chances of those metals up in the air or contaminants or whatever, I want to limit that risk as much as possible. So thinking about the future and where we're moving, I guess my request would be if there's a way to add that in, electric vehicle charging, so that no future changes have to be made to either lot just because we don't know if after they disturb it, if some of that contamination goes under your lot, etc. If there are any ways to future-proof both projects, so that we're less likely to have to either rebuild or redo the parking lots, that would be my one request. If you have any insight on that for folks here, because we're not, or I'm not, I'm a pharmacist, I'm not a builder, maybe some thoughts on how you all can future-proof that so we don't have to worry about these potentially getting disturbed.
Yeah, so I'm not doing the design on the west lot, obviously, but we spoke about that. So that's a message we relayed to the group. I don't believe there's anything planned on the west lot. I know we're not planning anything on the east lot right now, mostly because it's just the cost.
Yeah.
That infrastructure associated with it that's just not currently.
And the question I would ask is there a way to future-proof it in a way where it's more manageable or easier that if you do have to do that, if there are requirements around that in the future, you're less likely to have to disturb as much?
Yeah, so there is a way to do that. And part of actually the city general zoning requirement with EV charging is future-proofing as part of that. But in this case, it's unfortunately it's not part of the budget right now.
Understandable.
What you can do is put conduit in.
Correct.
I mean, I've worked on a couple of projects where we didn't have the money to put the charging units in, but we at least, before we paid, we ran conduits cheap.
Yeah.
You really ought to include that in your plan for any parking lot. You really should.
Yeah, we'll reiterate that to the team.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, thank you.
Commissioner?
Along those same lines, since we've got you in the room, are there plans from the planning department to
start to request this from folks that are going to be doing parking lots, given all of the things that Commissioner Benson has outlined?
Right, I mean, you know, part of what we wanna do when we're updating that policy is look at other, initiatives that the city has taken, you know, sustainability being one of those, and integrating that into our updated policy as well. So we're gonna be doing a lot of input around this, and I would really, you know, I'll take a note here, but when you see the opportunities, when we have surveys, we're gonna have workshops, we're gonna have pop-up events, et cetera, you know, encourage you to participate in those and get other people to participate as much as possible so that we hear that repeated, and that makes that into the updated policies. That's something that I think the current citywide planning policies, we're going to be kind of going toward the Columbus growth strategy, as we're going to rename it. But it's essentially the same thing that we don't really do a great job of addressing that currently. So that's a possibility, yes.
Can I make one more comment? Just to clarify, there is a zoning code now, right, that requires EV charging for new developments.
Yeah.
Can I make one last comment?
30 seconds.
Okay, we talked about us being resource rich and connection poor. We had a presentation from an AEP letting us know that we're getting a new substation in our neighborhood. So if that piece of information is helpful as you all are making the pitch or giving that information, please let them know that. I don't know how connected you are with utilities, probably not very, but our job here is to make sure that folks are getting the information to make those connections to give us a better neighborhood. So I'm harping on it because we got a lot of pieces of information. I want to make sure folks are getting connected. I don't have their contact information. If anyone here does or thinks that would be useful, please let us know. I'm sure someone can get it to you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes?
Yeah, just 2 points. Have the environmental remediation budget, especially on the other side. And then the second piece would just be, I've lived in the neighborhood for about 5 years over in Old Town East, and I very much value the services that I'm able to access via Ohio State. I will actually be attending or visiting this facility tomorrow for a doctor's appointment, and I do just want to thank you. That's a resource that we have in our community that's very close by. I've never lived anywhere where I can drive 5 minutes and be at my doctor's office. And so this is much needed. I tore my MCL about 2 months ago and had to traverse the parking lot, and that parking lot is an absolute train wreck. Especially in the winter where you can't see the spots and then people are just parking wherever the hell they want. This is a much needed project, and I think it's gonna, I'm looking forward to seeing the finished product.
Thank you.
Great. Any last word? Anyone in the community wish to speak to this? I don't see anyone. Entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve.
Wilbur and Benson, you have that, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, all in favor? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Opposed? Abstention? 1201. You have our support. Same speech. When you send this into your planner, copy us too.
Yep.
All right.
Appreciate everyone's time. Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, while we're wrapping this up, the last case for this evening is 494 South Champion. If you could come up, if you have materials to hand out, please do so.
So why don't we use this map since we don't access it?
Yeah, I really appreciate you pulling the sites up on the map while we're discussing them. If you would do that on the third one too, that'd be great. That's really such a step up.
Yes, it is.
Come on, away.
And then this one.
if you could start out by giving a sentence or two of what it is you're attempting to, this is new construction, what it is you're attempting to build, and then indicate what variances are needed to accomplish that. I will mention that this, at the site visit meeting on Saturday, the committee voted against this. No one voted in favor of it. There was one abstention. And there was also community input that was not favorable. So, first thing I would add is part of your brief 3 minutes that you get, indicate whether anything has been changed with the plan since you first presented to the Planning and Zoning Committee. Okay, take it away.
Good evening. My name is Chris Pettis, representing First Base for this project for 94 South Champion. Just to go over what we're trying to do is take an existing R3 zone site, and we have a number of variances related to increasing density from 1 unit to 2 units, the vision clearance variance from 30 feet to 10 feet per the City of Columbus's their staff comment. Area reduction from 5,000 to 3,000 square feet. Parking reduction from 4 spaces to 2 spaces. A lot width reduction from 50 feet to 35 feet, because it's an existing lot, it's already 35 feet. And building line, the corner lot variance from 6 feet 5 inches to 2 feet 6 inches. And a maximum side yard variance from 7 feet 8 inches to 6 feet. Minimum side yard permitted variance from 5 feet 10 inches to 3 feet. And yeah, those are all the variances for that. And so this is a duplex, two 3-bedroom, 2-bath units, 3 stories, each connected building. The entrances are along Fulton Street, although the address is Champion. So in terms of the changes, we've changed in the past, since the first time we came to the planning and zoning meeting. We heard the comment about the patio that was facing Fulton, and we removed that, and so because it's so close to Fulton, we put planting along the area to provide some extra privacy. You can see that in the rendering on the first and second page. We got at the last zoning site visit, there were issues with the vision clearance, so we pulled the building back a little bit, and the developer is we're looking into purchasing the lot to the north. I think somebody mentioned that as well.
So we can only vote on what we have in front of us, as you know. So you said that you pulled the building back a little bit. Like, could you be a little more specific about how much you've moved it?
Yeah, so there were, this is a city staff comment about the second and third floors were projecting into the vision clearance, so we pulled those back a little bit. So the actual ground floor is the same.
Okay. I will say that when we look at, and it helped to be standing on the site, kind of looking at sight lines, both on Champion and on Fulton. And, you can see the lot here, but you can't see the building superimposed on that. But you'd have to go 3 or 4 buildings to the north on Champion before there's one that's pulled so close to the street. If you look at the up Champion, you've got a few buildings in a row there. And not until you get further down the street is the building sticking out. And so this building is closer to the street than those adjacent buildings on Champion. And it's also closer to the street than what is adjacent on Fulton. And so there were no objections to putting 2 units on a single-family lot. We've, certainly anyone who's watched the commission or served on the commission knows we've approved similar cases to that. But the concerns were more about that, it's a small lot and putting these rather sizable units there forced the developer to come closer to the street, and it's a fairly busy intersection and has a traffic light, and it just didn't fit well, in the opinion of the committee. So it seems like the developer has moved the building a little bit, but it's still, those comments still seem valid. So that was really the primary reason why the committee didn't support it. So feel free to ask questions or make comments.
Go ahead, you go.
Okay. I'll make it really quick. I'm still learning, and I assume folks in the audience are still learning. So what I understand from vision triangles is the ability for folks around the corner to be able to see where they're going when there's a building there, correct? So it sounds like it's a safety issue of the building being so close to the street that does increase the risk for folks driving through that intersection, not to be able to see what's happening around them, cars coming through, and potentially increasing the risk for...
That's a correct comment. It's a bit complicated in this situation because Champion is a one-way street. So if you are westbound on Fulton, you don't really need to look to the right at the intersection because it's only the 1 in 500 cars that's going the wrong way down the street. But we do have that. Anyone who's lived here, we do have that. But that seems a pretty slim argument to make in that case. Now,
I raised a comment just to make sure everyone understands what it is we're talking about when it comes to, because I didn't before someone explained it to me.
Right. Go ahead.
My question, because this falls in it's just outside my district actually, but I was curious what neighborhood feedback was.
So we had one person come, 1 or 2? One person came who was not pleased with it, but that was, I only remember one person making comments. Now, we have a second person who came, who was the former chair of the commission, and who didn't like it either. But so I guess we should add that to the list. So there were 2 comments made.
Well, no, I was just going to say, if somebody is here who has feedback on the project that was at the site visit, I would love to hear it.
Well, my other feedback from it, I think the vision triangle, as you stated, is somewhat mitigated by the fact that it is a one-way street. To me, the larger concern is safety. Is you're building, you're building large. I think it's 3,800 square feet is this total unit, so 1,900 for each of the 2 units. Fairly large apartment buildings, and you're building this larger building, so it has to be closer to the kind of property lines. You're on a one-way street. We know cars fly off those one-way streets all the time. To me, it's a safety concern to have it be so close. There's no retaining wall. Like Sharif, Commissioner Benson, if you turn around the other corner, like the other house across the street there, you see how they have that retaining wall? Like I know when they were like, oh, it looks like a car hit that recently, So that would be the concern, is you're building a building close to the corner there, a car could come flying in. Are the people, is there a safety concern for the people if they're on the first floor?
It isn't just a completely theoretical thing. My wife keeps track of this. There are like 25 or so, I think it is, buildings that cars have crashed into in Columbus.
That's mostly the short yard.
To be fair, yeah, but
This year?
other places.
It's just like-
It isn't rare though, that's.
No,
and
20
it's-
plus this year alone.
And it's increasing.
And it's also a national joke. I've heard people joke about Columbus. people
I
driving
don't understand this, I don't claim to, I'm just saying that it isn't just a superficial, kind of flippant kind of comment, yeah.
And it has happened in our neighborhood.
My only suggestion was the retainer wall or some type of barrier, and just possibly scale that front part back just a little bit. Because if I'm walking down the sidewalk, I just feel like, the person's literally in my yard. You know, if somebody's walking down so just push it back a little bit, just a tad.
I will say on the vision triangle piece, it's 10 feet for most most streets, but because this is a four-way intersection, it's at 30 feet, but it's mitigated by like, putting it straight of the roads is one way, so, that's what we feel comfortable with, still doing 10 feet,
All right, anyone else have anything to add?
I think we also have to consider though, like, in 100 years, if this building is still there, is that street still gonna be a one-way? We don't know. Right, that's something else for us to consider.
Or will there be as many cars? I would argue there might be less.
Sure.
There may be more, I don't know. Who knows? I would just comment on, I know that you come before us a lot, and so again, I just want to reiterate back to I would hope that you would reiterate back to the developer that it seems to me that a lot of these designs are not, I understand there's not enough juice in this deal to make it work as is with all of our and developed behind this as well, there would have been enough juice in the deal. And so I would just really encourage the developer to take a look around the sites when he's purchasing these parcels, because this would have, I think this would have gone a lot easier in front of the commission had he just been proactive and backed a lot behind from the city of Columbus and pushed more juice into the deal by having a couple more units. I like density, okay, I'm a renter. My understanding is most of your designs that come before this commission are meant to be rentals, not owned, and that could change. I know we've had that conversation before, but please, take a look around at the other parcels, and I know that this isn't you, but you have to sort of receive the message, right? There are other parcels, this is a perfect example of the developer is not paying attention. That parcel is perfect, and I'll be quiet. But that's just, I understand there's not enough juice on this specific parcel to do anymore, but the parcel behind it, it's right there.
Mr. First, you have
Just-
the last comment?
Okay, and this is not me being for it or against it, I get what we're saying, but, and I say this every week, I think we have to be careful to vote on what's on paper, and I also think we have to be careful not to be a barrier and develop code to find the lie.
Be a barrier to development in the neighborhood, so. It probably would have gone easier had he, but he didn't.
Yeah, you know, this sort of philosophical kind of question too, and it's like what we look at is it's a small lot on a corner with traffic. They chose to build rather large units. Could they have built units that were 4 feet narrower and would therefore have just set back further from the street? They could have, but that's not what they wanted to do. Now, we presume that's economically driven, but that's their choice.
Right.
And all we can do is try to support things that make sense.
Yeah.
But then you get a design that doesn't have a living room, right? Like some of the ones that we've seen previously. And so at least on this one, you have a living, dining, and kitchen.
Yeah, it's like these are two houses connected to each other.
Yeah.
It's really what they are.
And they got porches.
Yep.
Yeah, it has stuff going for it. It's just a very small lot to do that all on. That's the problem. All right. Anything last? Anyone in the community wish to speak to this? Yes.
Yeah, it just occurred occurred to me that at that site visit, you have the last 2 chairs from the commission that were at that site visit, and neither of us were for it. And because both of us could see the safety concerns for it. So former Chair Bailey was also there and acknowledged the safety concerns for that intersection, acknowledging also that the Gemma has been hit 3 times in the last few months. That first floor of the Gemma hasn't even been fully utilized in terms of retail space. So sure, it's got a living room on the first floor, you don't want a car inside of it. You don't want somebody sleeping on the couch and having somebody come inside that with a car. So, you know, when we think about using edge-to-edge spaces, but there's no space for there to be barriers, I think we're really endangering the people who are going to be in those spaces. And also for the people who are on the sidewalks, there's no place for them to evacuate to when the building is right there and there's no place to go. So just to give the feedback for who you had in the community that was at that meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, I think we're ready for a motion.
So moved, Chris.
Second.
Okay, you have that? Chris and Hansford Humphrey. Got it?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, all those in favor, raise your hand.
I'm in favor.
Okay. 1 opposed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Are you up or 6, 7,
Keep it up.
8, 9? Abstentions? 2. So I've got 1, 9, and 2. Did I leave someone out? 1, 9, and 2 is 12. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I missed somebody. I'm sorry, let's vote again. 1 in favor, opposed, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Abstention? Are you voting?
Oh yeah, I'm approving. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Oh, okay.
Y'all lost the sauce there for a second.
I'm thinking if I should order 1 TV or 2
Oh,
TVs.
my.
No.
All right,
So it's
no.
2 in favor,
We
9 opposed, and 2 abstentions. 2, 9, 2.
We're supposed to do a roll call vote after
We don't need to,
messed up.
we got it. It's 2, 9, and
Have to
2.
read 3 times. All right, so we're gonna do a roll call vote. Benson.
Or not in favor, I'm sorry.
No.
All right, nay. All right,
Keep it
Chris.
to no, my bad.
No.
Francisco.
No.
Frost.
No.
Hansford Humphrey.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Harris abstaining. Clepass.
No.
Logan.
No.
Lowenstein.
No?
Reedus.
No.
Rice.
No.
Wells is not here. And Yurkowski. Oh, my bad, left one. Wilbur.
Yes.
All right. All right, we have 2 yays, 2 abstentions, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 opposed. All right, motion does not pass.
Chairman, may I make a comment before
Yeah.
the applicant leaves? As someone who voted no, you got a helpful comment from someone who voted yes. I still want to give that comment. We do appreciate builders coming in and building things. I think what I want to make sure is communicated is most of the concerns seem to be around safety, and there seem to be ways to address the safety. I am not a builder, so I can't say whether or not they're economical in nature to make those changes. You let us know that the builder may already be acquiring that lot. So it sounds like if they were able to do that, there's a pretty good chances that with the safety fixes, we would not be in opposition to this, because that seems to be the major concern is the safety of the people that are living there. I just want to make sure that's clear. Like, we appreciate you guys building stuff. We just want to make sure it's safe.
Absolutely.
All right. You filling that out, and again, you know the drill, I think, of the comments go to the planner and come back to us as well.
Any other recommendations that go with the no?
This group comes before us pretty frequently, and as a neighbor of this is the most attractive building. Not that that is worth anything for our votes, but this is, it's pretty. Thank you. Just pass it along. Okay.
Compared to what?
I think
All right.
sometimes there's too much time talking about
It's
it, so,
subjective,
that's
Yeah, it
one of
is.
the comments.
It's good,
Okay. All right, thank you. that is the last of the zoning cases for this evening. That's the end of our committee's work. Back to the chair.
Thank you so much. We'll now move on to community engagement with Madam Vice Chair Francisco.
So as it was previously mentioned, the April community engagement meeting, we will host the District 7 City Council candidates. I sent out a form to everyone on our listserv so that you have the opportunity to share any comments or questions that you would like to ask them. So if you did not receive that, please let me know. It's also posted to our Facebook account in the link of the event.
You know, since we're on community engagement, although I'm not on the committee, I thought maybe it would be a good moment to bring up that we were recontacted by the developer who is going to be redeveloping the Sawyer Tower site. And so I've been sort of pestering them periodically every month or two, going back into last year, like, we'd like to, when you have a tentative plan, we'd love to meet with you, invite the community. And so we don't have a date. We've suggested a date, and I'm mentioning it because it's the fourth Thursday in April, which is incredible. It's not so far off. So they're still checking to see if that works for them. But I just wanted folks to know that in the next month or two, there'll be a community meeting and we'll get a chance to see what they're proposing to build there. That's it.
Who's the developer, Commissioner Lumsey?
They're called Nuveen.
Yeah, Nuveen, yeah.
Yeah.
Currently owned by Lumet, okay.
Yeah. I don't have any more information on what they're proposing to do. I've tried to kind of get a little bit of info. No, they weren't sharing, so we don't know what their plan is at this point, other than demoing what's there and building new. That much we know, but we don't know whether they've changed the plan from the one they had originally presented to the city, like to get the selection as the redeveloper. So that we know they were proposing 1-for-1 unit replacement, which is 392 units, very large, and I don't know if that's still what they're proposing to do. So stay tuned.
All right. Madam Vice Chair, any more announcements?
That concludes my report.
All right, thank you so much. Special committee reports. Technology committee. I can give a recap if you want. Okay. Technology committee met this past Tuesday. The website is currently in development. Myself and soon Commissioner Rob are currently working on that. It's up and coming, as well as Commissioner Rice as well has submitted a site map for the overall design of that website. Our goal is to have that launched in April. So please stay tuned with that. We do have a new email address as well, general@neareastareacommission.org. Okay, neareastareacommission.org. Okay, the intentions are for planning and zoning to have their own email inboxes as well under the same domain. I'll most likely have to come to you all again to get approval for spending money for that. But good thing, since me and Rob and Bob are and Jacqueline are all working on the website and not outsourcing it to somebody. That original $300+ that was approved last month can now be allocated towards purchasing additional inboxes and so forth. The social media plan to launch Instagram is supposed to start in April as well. And Madam Vice Chair, along with others, and even Anai will be working on getting that launched as well. Any questions regarding the technology committee? Go ahead.
For those of the folks in the audience, this is the current website, so the proposal is to make a newer and updated website. If you have feedback as community members, please let us know, right? We're making this to make it more navigable and accessible for everyone. So if there's anything you see on here that you'd like to see, come to another meeting, let us know, we will get it on there. For anyone who's new, this is how you can tell anyone about the Near East Area Commission. Just send them to the website. For now, we will be changing, as Chair Harris had mentioned earlier, but for now it's still cbusareacommissions.org, but you can also find it just by typing in Near East Area Commission, and I'm hoping that will be the way it is probably in the future when it changes. Thank you.
Mr. Rice. Would you, Chair Harris, would you send all the commissioners and community members an email from the new account? Yes. So we have that in our inbox and we don't have to retype it.
Yep. That an email will come out soon. But it is on the website currently as my new way of contact. So boom, right there, new way of contact. So yeah, we're really working on visibility and being transparent. So some very good things are happening out of that technology committee, which has been meeting monthly so far, and will probably continue to do so. Yes, Commissioner, please ask.
So I have a quick point of clarification.
Uh-huh.
I understand having a general email address for the Near East Area Commission. There's a typo here, but
yes, there is.
But is that is that intended to replace a direct contact ability for you?
Yeah, so my intention is to have one email for the chair so that when a new chair comes, it has complete receipts of any information that has come to address the commission.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Clarification.
Yep. Because in the transition, there's been too much stuff that's been lost. So I want really just one contact. Now, ideally, I would want all districts to have their own inbox as well, in which each of the three would share that, but that's a little bit more money. But, who knows? We got big money to spend. All right, that concludes. Yes, please do.
It's also like my intent and goal that we also move to that structure where we have, leveraging the G Speed account and how then we're able to create accounts within that organizational account so that one, everyone has the same level of access to our documents. We're not having to worry about sharing requests and worry about who has access and edit to what. It's just, and then also what Dr. Harris said around how, that continuity of passing that you have the same inbox for kind of ever based on, and then just swap whoever's in and out. We're able to be more secure with having an admin in terms of password protection and stuff like that. And it also will make our lives a lot easier for being able to share stuff with the community and not have to worry about where it's at and who has access to it versus if they edit or not. We're able to control that in a much more streamlined way by leveraging the G Speed account organizational capabilities.
May I ask a clarifying question?
Yes.
So with what you just described, is your intent, and I'll just use some examples, to have zoning at neareastareacommission.org and then everyone who's on the zoning committee will have access to that mailbox?
I don't know like the specifics or like what that would look like in practice. I would imagine that anybody that's not a commissioner wouldn't necessarily have access. In my mind, it'd be like commissioners would have G Speed. I'm still like I'm still working on like understanding the ins and outs of the bylaws and who has access to what. At the end of the day, at a minimum, my hope would be that every commissioner has their own, and then it gets kind of like passed down when somebody replaces them through a simple like password reset situation. But in terms of like a hierarchy, we can, depending on the kind of like plan that we would get with G Speed, there's different number of users that we would be able to have, and so based on that, we could potentially have additional users. The problem with like sharing an account is then every time that somebody goes off that committee or not, you have to reset the password. So I think in general, like maybe there's a rethink of how we're sharing those documents and whether or not an entire committee needs access to an email inbox or not, versus, you know, having access to the documents that are required to function as a committee.
Understood. I would just will add two little nuggets as you guys are working through this. I think the first is we need to have a way that constituents have an easy way to communicate and reach out to all of their district representatives. So however that fits in with your plan there. And then the other thing is timely response to things that come to those email boxes. Just as you're determining who's going to have access to it, and I completely understand everything that you're talking about, the fewer people you have the ability to respond to, you're limiting your bandwidth in terms of what that response time could look like. People could be on vacation, people might have a late night at work. If you only have 2 people who are responding to things, the likelihood that those kind of things come into play, and then we have longer and less transparency and less opportunities for communicating with our community. I just want to make sure that we're not moving backwards there.
Yeah, so if everyone's got an account and everyone's contact information is going to be on the website, like somebody can in theory email every single one of us. At the end of the day, we're all volunteers and we all probably have our own, you know, SLA in terms of when we respond to things. I hate notification bubbles. I'm constantly checking my phone. So I think some of that onus is back on us as commissioners to figure out what that looks like for us in terms of managing our inboxes. But if each of us has an inbox or a shared inbox, in theory, somebody from the community could email all of us. It's not, you know, so it'd be kind of on that community member to reach out to more than just one person. But there's also ways to set up distribution lists where somebody has the opportunity to send an email and it goes to everybody at the same time, and then whoever has oversight of that particular topic or whatever has the ability to respond back.
Thank you for the work that you're doing.
Any other questions regarding the technology committee? All righty, we'll now move on to our treasurer's report, Commissioner Lowenstein.
So you may recall the city was kind enough to make $2,500 available to us to spend between the first of the year and the end of April. So we created a budget, approximate budget at least, of how we're going to spend money. So at this point, we've spent about half of it on the laptop, and I think we bought our t-shirts.
Yeah, the t-shirts are done.
And
I just have not picked them up yet, but they're here and ready to go.
After months and months of talking about t-shirts, we will have them.
Years.
And Google Workplace and Google Domain used up the rest of the money. There's still $1,222 remaining to spend by the end of April. And I believe we're moving some of the money, as the chair indicated, and we'll spend some of that on this the email changes that were just being talked about. I don't know what our balance will be after that, but we'll take another look at it. And by next month, at this point next month, we should have pretty well spent it all.
Yeah.
So that's where we are with that.
All right. Thank you. There's no old business besides. Oh, yes.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Oh no.
Budget. Well, on budget.
Yeah.
So there was money allocated to somebody building the website, and now that's not happening. So are we reallocating that money for us to build the website, like using website building tools?
Correct.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah.
For transparency.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Commissioner.
All righty. There's no old business besides take your headshots, which I think we just have one more person to take it. So we'll go on to new business. We do have a District 1 appointment. Only one applicant this time. According to the bylaws, we do not have to do any question and answers for him. And so I'm going to take a motion to, well, I'm going to welcome Tobias. If you'd like to come, you're more than welcome to come and sit in this seat right here. technically do not have to do a question and answer period because there's no one running up against him. So we only need to make approval or to disapprove him and to reopen the So I will say he was the first one to do our new application process, which is all digital now. And how was it?
It was easy. Yeah.
There we go.
I don't have a printer, so it was nice. I could just do it on the Google form.
Just do it right on the form, the signature too, and everything else. And so I'm gonna work with you for summertime for the big elections, to making sure that it works for the larger elections over summer. But again, thank you so much for applying. The executive committee had a chance to look at your responses and everything like that, but we'll make sure to share with anybody else. But do I have a motion to approve Tobias Katz to be the district owner? All right. And second. All right. All those in favor, please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Opposed? Abstaining? Me, 1201. Congratulations. Welcome to commission. All right. If you could go take your headshot. But before we do that, we still need a secretary. Is anyone interested in serving as secretary here on the commission? Anyone interested?
We should have asked the right.
You were nominated in that question.
Yeah.
So you'd like to be secretary. Roy, that was just terrible.
Tobias, do you have any interest in serving as secretary?
I just got here. I'd like to get my feet
You did not just get here. That's
Well, hold on.
on this side.
Okay.
I will say we will walk and guide you if you're interested. Won't be by yourself if you are, but I'm not giving any pressure today. We'll go another month without a secretary. For now, Chair Secretary Harris. For now, but next month I need the leaders in this room to step up, and I say that with a stern voice. Now I'm smiling again. Okay. All right. If there are no other announcements,
Can I make one announcement?
yes.
Gary's Neighbors 9th Annual Egg Hunt, Saturday, April 12th, 3 p.m. Eldon and Elise Ward YMCA. If you would like to donate or volunteer, students can receive volunteer service hours for school. Contact Kate Curry Suzanne.
What's the date for that?
That is April 12th, 1 to 3 p.m.
At the Eldon LC Ward YMCA.
Correct.
Thank you so much.
Are they using real eggs?
Are you?
We're not ready.
Those are too expensive.
Made of money.
In this one.
Like gold.
Plastic eggs, plastic.
Do you want us to come buy eggs and fill them with candy and deliver them to your front porch
Yes.
like in?
And we have plenty, we also have eggs people can stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
The order of 10,000.
Yeah.
All righty. It
Maybe
is.
will fit inside eggs.
It is 8:22. I would like to accept the motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn, Benson.
Second.
Benson Wilbur.
All right. All those in favor? All right. Have a good night. Wait, before we go, we're gonna end the recording. Please go take your